welcome back to Floating Through Film. This is your host Luke, and today for episode 73, we are doing another sort of blind spot thing with just Dany and I, because Blake sadly isn't on vacation.
Sadly, he's on vacation.
Actually, that.
No, we hope you have a good vacation, Blake.
Yeah,
He'll probably listen to this. So.
Sorry, we just miss him so much. But basically, so Dany and I had to come up with something. So I figured how we picked these two movies we're doing for today is we both wanted to pick a movie for each other that the other hadn't seen, and basically we specifically wanted to focus on a movie from a specific genre, subgenre, maybe director that the other person isn't quite. I don't want to say like doesn't like, but like isn't on the wavelength yet, maybe, or just
or they haven't got to, or
just like, or just needs more convincing to really like be into whatever category you could put the movies in. And the two movies we're doing today is Rio Bravo, which is the movie I picked for Dany, and the movie Dany picked for me was Unstoppable. So before we get into it, I'll introduce my co-host, Dany.
Hello.
All right, and I guess we can go ahead and talk about, specifically, I'll talk about why I chose Rio Bravo for you, and you could explain why I chose Unstoppable for me.
Okay.
I chose Rio Bravo for Dany because Dany, I mean, you could probably explain this better than I can, but Westerns, a lot of Westerns, I feel like you aren't exactly like, you're not really, I feel like you don't really like the kind of the formula of a Western. Is that a good way to say it? Like, I guess you can explain it better than me. Like,
it's not that I don't enjoy the Western, it's more the other word you said.
Formula?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's true that's why genre in general, especially when they lean on the genre a lot.
Yeah.
Formulaically. That's what I really don't like. And Westerns seem to do that a lot.
Okay.
From the ones I've seen.
Yeah. And
but
so,
I'll be honest though, I'm not a huge Western head. Like, I haven't seen that many.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I haven't seen Clint Eastwood's Westerns, which I definitely need to.
Okay,
yeah. I don't know. Just like some people don't like sci-fi. They just don't like alien shit. They don't like being out of the.
I mean, I don't
like
like
being off Earth. They don't like being off Earth. All that kind of imagination.
I don't like
or Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Some people don't. Yeah. You don't like Middle Earth. Like you. You don't like Lord of the Rings.
Okay,
you
but
don't like.
Is that the only Middle Earth?
But I'm saying that kind of genre. You don't even like fantasy, but like historical fantasy.
Maybe, I don't know.
You told us that.
Well, Demi has historical fantasy, and it's so good. Donkey Skin is historical fantasy. Come on.
Okay, but the difference is there are fans that would watch that not because it's Demi, but because it's that genre.
Yeah.
But you're not watching it because of that.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And that's why I'm not into Westerns like that, where I would not watch it because it's a Western. You know, I'd watch it because it's a John Ford movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But there are certain genres like sci-fi where I will watch them. Just because the idea looks interesting.
Okay.
Like I know most Black Mirror episodes are going to still be bad, but I've still watched them all.
Yeah.
You know, even because a new one just came out like kind of recently, and I watched those.
Okay.
Because I just like sci-fi for some reason.
That's fair.
But Westerns, I don't know. Like I just don't like the world that much. Like we get it, you're a cowboy and you're heroic and stuff, and the girl falls in love with you right away.
And so I picked this one because Rio Bravo, I think it's safe to say it does fall into a lot of those conventions, but it's like...
Because that's exactly what happens in this one.
But at the same time, though, to me at least, it like... There's something about the hangout nature of it that I feel like I wanted to expose you to and see what you thought of it. I'm interested to see your thoughts on kind of how Hawks approach the genre in Rio Bravo. I guess you can explain why you wanted to pick Unstoppable for me.
Or should we wait? Let's wait till...
Should we wait? Okay.
Yeah. Because let's just go into Rio Bravo. It makes more sense. Because, I mean, honestly, I think that's the best part of the movie, in my opinion. I'll let you go after.
The best part
I'll
of the
give
movie.
you my initial impressions of Rio Bravo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The hangout. It's kind of the second act. Like, maybe Dean Martin's kind of his, like, character growth.
Yeah.
You know? Like, obviously the music scenes or the hangout scenes are the best. And I agree with those. But, like... At the same time, it still feels like, okay, now we have to go to the shootout in the third act.
But to me...
And everyone has to survive.
I'll bring this up.
And, like, the clown has to get his...
I get what you mean by the shootouts, but to me, the shootouts are actually super creative. And, like, They don't
Okay.
feel like generic. Like how he stages them and how he like arranges them are very interesting to me, and are not like typical Western shootouts.
Okay, I would agree with
'Cause-
that.
I mean,
Honestly, okay, let me keep because I do like this movie.
okay.
I wouldn't say I love it, but I like it. I like it. It's way better than most westerns.
I'll take that. You know,
And it just it is kind of what I was saying about genre in the first place, where a lot of the especially in genre, a lot of the morals feel black and white, especially in the characters. You know, like the good guys and bad guys are clear. You know, good has to win. Like literally, the good has to win, represented by the characters having to survive or die.
yeah.
You know, like that's how clear it is. Which is
Okay. I mean, it's
you see what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
more direct. Like versus kind of John Wayne. His are way more like kind of morally ambiguous if you really watch a lot of his movies.
yeah. And what's interesting? So that's actually something I was going to
But
talk
you
about.
could people could disagree with that.
Well, yeah, and I think that it was that was kind of on purpose because so big about the backstory is
Okay.
the politics behind this movie aren't the greatest, and it's
Why so?
Well, basically, have you seen High Noon?
I have, but it was a long time ago.
I haven't seen
I wasn't
it.
really politically.
I haven't
like,
seen
that
it,
conscious,
but
really, so-
I haven't seen it yet. But from what I understand, the movie's about a sheriff who has locked up a criminal and is basically awaiting outlaws to come to the town and basically and he's trying to find help from all of the townspeople, and no one will help him. So basically, he has to fight among his own, apparently. And so John Wayne, who was one more thing behind it is it was an allegory for the Red Scare and McCarthyism. Well, John Wayne, who was a very conservative guy, didn't like communism. One of those guys back in the day, saw this movie and was pissed, and basically got Howard Hawks to make a western in response to High Noon, basically talking about how you need camaraderie and brotherhood, basically.
Okay.
So that's kind of how Rio Bravo was spawned. And what's fascinating is most film Twitter and letterbox people, very leftist,
Yes.
which including us, But it's so funny because everyone I follow, regardless, gives this movie 5 stars. Like, yeah, we don't care. To me,
what you say though is which is what makes films really interesting. Like John Wayne could make this movie with that in mind.
Yeah.
Yet Howard Hawks could still make it with almost to me it doesn't feel very patriotic.
Yeah, me too.
It's more more like Brotherhood itself changes the people inside it. It's very kind of local.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It's the movie is so good to me that it just doesn't matter, and I feel like that's what a lot of people experience.
But to me, I'm not even saying it is kind of black and white in terms of the good guys have to win. I don't know, it does have some of that to it, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's as patriotic or even negative, even towards where leftists should feel negative about it. You know, but they should feel guilty or something. Even though I never think that about any movie, especially if you're watching them for formal interest as well, not just if it's agrees with us.
Yeah, and it's to me that's a big part of my love for this movie is that it's just so entertaining. All the I love all the characters and stuff that it's just I can ignore any maybe genre trope or anything because it's just to me I find the tropes in this movie very entertaining personally for myself.
So you're a Western head, even though would you say you watched bad Westerns and still like them, or do you still watch just bad Westerns new as well?
I mean, I don't think I've gotten to a lot of the bad Westerns, but I feel to me, I'm not.
Or have you ever watched an old Western and be oh, that looks like an interesting idea, even though no one's watched it, or only 2 people have seen it, or something like that?
No, I haven't.
You haven't got that far yet.
No, I haven't gotten that far
yet.
Yet.
Do you feel like you could? Do you like Westerns that much, or is it more it's more a lot of great American directors in the past made Westerns? So a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm a fan of Westerns," and they'll be look at all the great Westerns. But it's really you're just listing great directors.
Yeah.
And
To be honest, that's probably my
that's
experience. My experience so
versus,
far is I've really mainly watched the auteur-driven westerns Ford, Hawks, Leone. Altman with McCabe, Mrs. Miller. I watched Great Silence with Corbucci, which is the western I actually thought about picking for this. It was between that and Rio Bravo, but I haven't gotten that deep to see if it is if I do actually love the genre itself. but specifically, I love what these directors have done with the genre from what I've seen so far. So I do really like those westerns. So we'll see if I like how I feel about the genre itself. But yeah, I mean, I kind of explained my thoughts though. But yeah,
And the reason I say that is because westerns were super popular.
Oh yeah,
Like even more than superhero level. So because people actually were going to theaters and watching movies.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy
and
because
they're cheap too, so people could watch a lot of them.
Yeah, and the thing about like a lot of these auteur-driven ones, especially like kind of like late 50s, 60s, and 70s even, a lot of these are deconstructing the Western.
Yeah,
it's funny because like
reflective. They're reflective on a genre that's already existed for a long time.
Which can be a little confusing. Like I was confused initially at first, like why is everything deconstructing this genre? And then you kind of realize, oh wait, yeah,
it's been around for so long.
It's become such an oversaturated genre basically at this point
Like
that you don't have the context for it.
Like John Wayne was definitely John Wayne at that point. Like an icon.
Oh,
by the time like Rio Bravo and some of the ones that we like.
And like not even just movies, like TV shows too. Like westerns were everywhere basically.
Yeah.
Which makes it a really interesting genre, which we've now like there's like barely any westerns being made. It feels like.
So do you agree with? Because there are people that say superheroes are the westerns of our era, kind of thing, genre wise. So will there be people 50 years from now talking about it's so interesting like the 2020s. All these superhero movies are reflecting on the genre. Like,
has there really been though that many of that yet?
It's
like
not yet.
Yeah,
I'm saying 50 years.
I'm wondering honestly.
Like some superhero movies, like you could probably say, have become a little more self-reflective, or deconstructing. But maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stretching
it may not has happened yet.
Because that's the thing. The westerns. I don't know if this is true or not because I haven't done enough research just on the Hollywood studio system in general.
Yeah.
But it feels like a lot of there was just a little more freedom in the filmmakers to have some kind of say.
It's you're saying it's more of like a blank canvas than the superhero genre.
But I think that's a part of what we're saying if we've only watched the auteur.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Instead of the genre like they were manufacturing these, dude. And if you're manufacturing, it's genre script based. It's not going to be good, basically.
And all you need to do is
unless you're John Ford level.
Yeah, look at like John Ford's output and see how many movies he's made.
Unless you're that, but it's him though. It's not a studio producing a script trying to make a John Wayne movie or a John Ford movie.
Yeah. Although, do you think? I'm sure John Ford definitely got scripts though. Like,
what do you mean?
I'm sure John Ford got scripts and got I guess
he did.
He still picked them.
He did. But I'm saying that it's important that he made them though.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't tell, I love Rio Bravo a lot. So, but we'll get into it. I guess we're going to get into it. Opening scene. To me, this opening scene does such a good job at establishing the characters with no dialogue. Because you get Dean Martin's character walking in. Basically, they're doing their routine to try to catch this criminal. Dean Martin comes through the back, and you're focused on him, and looks anxious basically, and basically he's a recovering drunk. He's a drunk basically. That's kind of the point. And basically, you see how everyone treats him. Basically, he's making fun of him, this drunk guy trying to be a deputy basically, and basically he's him going to a bar is him getting kind of nervous and sweating because he wants a drink. Obviously, that's of course a big part of the movie. His progress on that, and basically they're making fun of him, tossing a coin into the little thing or whatever. Yeah. Basically, they're trying to catch this guy who has it's part of this really powerful brother duo basically. And basically it's with no dialogue. Basically, Chance comes in, John Wayne's character, and basically kicks the bucket thing away from him, and basically trying to say him keep focus on the job, and then Dean Martin just grabs a piece of wood and just knocks him out. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that is.
The big thing about this movie, it's hilarious.
It is funny that John Wayne's introduced like that.
Yeah, and basically Dean Martin's character is getting beat up and stuff, and then we follow the bad guy. Nathan, his name is, and basically this dude's the ultimate bad guy. He's setting him up he's walking down the street forcefully turning around women and being oh, you're ugly, and just which is this whole scene no dialogue at all, just just through like action, basically, just through movement, pretty much, and facial expressions, basically. You can see kind of the hierarchy of power throughout all these kind of relationships, like through like Dean Martin's character and John Wayne, and like how the whole town treats Dean Martin. Basically, that's kind of what this thing's setting up.
You get all the dynamics.
Yeah, and then when the Nathan guy goes to the bar, basically John Wayne, like, it's like, I got you, I got you, bitch. Like, basically, they arrest him. Basically,
yeah.
This sets up pretty much the whole plot of this movie. Like,
there's not that many locations. Really.
No. There's
the prison.
Yeah, like the jail. And the whole like the main street of town, the bar, or like the hotel bar. Like,
it's a very like localized.
Yeah.
And then you only go to the brother's place at the very end during the shootout.
Yeah, and you have that like shed thing, and there's like 5 or 6 maybe locations, maybe undershooting a little bit, but yeah. And
because sometimes when you think of westerns, like you think of expansive, like desert, like huge, like open expanse shots, like over the plains or something, or
I mean,
a lot of horse riding or something like that.
Yeah, you think of like John Ford, like Searchers, like just like watching people riding throughout the desert, like adventure, basically. But yeah, this is very like claustrophobic, which makes sense because that's basically how the characters feel. They have to stay in the town and basically await this threat that's about to come. But basically, like, it's so funny. Like, I remember the first time I watched this. After I watched it, I was like, why do people call it a hangout western? Like, I mean, there's elements, but then I thought about it. I was like, what was the plot? Oh, it's like they're just waiting for the guy the whole time. Oh, okay, yeah. There's not really a plot at all. Like,
it's
like there's character moments. There's a lot of character moments, but
the plot is more about I would say Dean Martin's growth is the closest.
Closest, yeah.
And maybe almost fall off. Like, it's kind of teased that there's going to be he's already being replaced, and they're like, and then it's like, oh no, you come back. We're obviously going to get to this, but it's like because we're talking about plot, and it's like it's true, I guess. Like, because I'm always saying like, oh, I hate plot, I hate narrative. Yeah. But that's the thing; it kind of it attaches that to in the first and third acts. That's why I'm like, that's why I think it falls off a little bit for me.
For the first and third,
first and at least beginning and end of the movies. Where it feels more like the genre western.
Okay.
Like it feels like almost like there has to be a shootout. That's why
but
we
the
get it. It is shot well.
It's shot well. It's not a typical
It's not a shot as well as like this next director we're going to get to, how he would shoot a shootout.
I haven't seen the Tony Scott shootout yet, but
you should watch Man on Fire too.
Okay. But like, thing is like, we're already talking about the final shootout, of course. But like, it's not like a typical like shootout in a western. They're literally like treating it as a joke. They're like throwing dynamite.
But that's
like,
kind of my problem.
With the dynamite.
Yeah, it is. It's like there's no stakes. That's why it feels like a hangout.
I guess that's why I like it though. I guess because like it is a very like chill movie for me. Like really comfortable. Like
I guess really what it comes down to, and this is going to sound like a hot take. I don't think. Is it Walter Brennan?
Walter Brennan,
Walter Brennan. His character. I don't think he's that good.
Like what? Like what do you
like?
Mean
He's kind of gets on my nerves a little bit.
To be fair, that is kind of his character. Like
it is, but everyone loves him.
I kind of love him for that. Like
exactly.
It's like he's like just the way he like just his relationships with all the guys is what I find hilarious about him.
He's a little Jar Jar Binksy to me.
Oh my god! Like just the way like his job.
It's like he's over exaggerating so much. Like
but I guess that's kind of the appeal. Like
it is.
Like
it's
at least to me. Like especially just the fact.
And it's not even that I hate it. It's like I just like it's like I don't know. It just feels like overemphasized a lot.
I could see that.
It gets on my nerves a little bit. I don't know. And what I'm really trying to get to is it does feel like a hangout movie in terms of it really focuses on the characters.
Yeah.
And I can't say I love the characters because they do feel so black and white, except for Dean Martin. And I do think he's well done, but
okay.
I don't know, like.
I mean, I guess we could approach this right now by just talking about the characters itself because that would make more sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to go through the plot specifically, like.
Yeah, and then I'll mention we can mention some moments.
I guess. I guess we're talking about Walter Brennan. Like, I just love that his whole job is literally just sitting inside waiting to shoot someone. Like he's literally like he's like trapped. He's trapped. He's basically locked up himself, basically.
And that leads to actually because we were going to get to this quote soon that I was going to mention is when someone it's that guy that comes in with his crew. I think it's like a good guy. but he's like a little older, and he's like, basically, what's your plan for the town?
Yeah.
And he's like, a game like an old man and a drunk. That's all you got? And he's like, that's what we got.
Yeah.
That's what I got. And he's like, okay, that is a great line. That's a great line.
Well, it's just John Wayne just has like just the whole movie. Every character has like these like little like lines that just are so good. Like they're so like smart ass and like and just cool. Like John Wayne's really cool to me. Like I mean, I think we're both John Wayne fans.
I like him.
Okay.
Like because I like I told you, I watched the man who shot Liberty Valance right after this, and for some reason I just like everything just feels a little more epic in a John Ford movie. Like
okay. I mean, I probably prefer Man Shot a bit,
and I kind of like I love both. And I kind of like his like almost like abstracted. It's less about the characters and more about the.
I go to those two movies for different purposes. Basically.
Yes, no, that can be true, and that's what I'm saying. The hangout movie in a western where I'm like, it's not my favorite. Like if I told you, hey, let's go watch this hangout movie in Middle Earth, you'd be like, oh, I don't want to watch that. You know, it's not that bad because I still like this movie a lot. I do, and I do like John Wayne. I like Dean Martin.
Yeah, which is funny because it's actually interesting. Dean Martin and Ricky Nelson, Colorado. Basically, those two actors are both country stars.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is
that makes sense. Like, so have you listened to Dean Martin's music at all? Because I mean, I want to after listening to.
Well, yeah. Their music seems amazing, but what about it though? Like,
I'm just wondering.
No, I have.
Because you said he's a country music star. Like, was he actually famous for that, or like?
I think both of them were like really famous. Okay. And in fact, I'm pretty sure the studio. I'm pretty sure that if I'm not mistaken, the studio's push for both of them, especially Ricky Nelson, which Howard Hawks didn't want Ricky Nelson.
Oh.
That's why, he doesn't have as much lines as the other ones because he wanted to limit it as much as possible. Which that kind of helped the movie in my opinion.
He does
because I love
his almost tease of he's going to be the next guy that comes out. He gets a badge right away.
Oh yeah. Specifically because I love the line where they refer to him as a gunslinger who doesn't feel the need to prove himself. Basically, him basically saying oh, I mind my own business, being like this young hot shot, and like John Wayne.
You know who he reminds me of is the cowboy all of a sudden that comes in McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
Okay.
That young cowboy.
Robert Carradine's cowboy is nowhere near as cool as this guy. Which it's good. It's a good.
Actually, I disagree. It's the other way around.
Really? Okay, that's a crazy thing.
I love that other guy, dude. Because
no. When I'm saying he's not as cool, I still love him because he's supposed to be not cool in my opinion.
He's so cool. Stop.
He's
so chill.
He's like a hick. I'm gonna go to the fucking
he was the honest Western. He's a true Western.
He's honest. I don't think that makes him cool. He's kind of supposed to be a little lame.
Yes, he is.
That's kind of the point of his
the way he dies and stuff is so.
He's supposed to be like the
no, this young cowboy's still cool. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like McCabe and Miller is like a reflection on even on that. It's like making fun of those kind of that young cowboy character.
Honestly, they are kind of connected in that way really well. But we were talking about Walter Bray, and we got off track, but
because you can honestly say say McCabe.
Yeah.
He's like Dean Martin. If Dean Martin does actually just goes back to being a drunk or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm just thinking on the spot. I'm like, how are those two movies similar?
I mean,
because McCabe and Mrs. Miller does feel like a hangout movie in some ways to me.
Well, most Altman movies do to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He must have watched Rio Bravo and stuff. And you can tell this movie is hugely influential, which is partly why, maybe, you know how people will criticize, Star Wars for everything it brought kind of thing.
Yeah.
I might be doing that with this movie, where it's of course, the clown character throughout the movie has his, saving grace at the end of the day, where, we think he's gone. Every superhero movie has that.
Yeah.
Where the sidekick character, you think he's gone or something, or he's they kicked him off the team or something, or he's dead, and he shows up to have his big moment at the end to save it.
Wait, what are you referring to, though?
Think...
in Rio Bravo.
With Walter Brennan when he shows up at the shootout at the end.
Okay.
After John Wayne tells him, you have one leg, you can't come kind of thing.
I kind of see that differently in the way it's just hilarious that everyone in the movie is just showing up to they're all just randomly. Because even the Mexican guy from the hotel is I'll feed you bullets. Okay,
that is true. I love that guy. True. I should watch it more taking it less seriously.
That's a good way to watch it. Because
that is true. Every time you watch a movie for the first time, you can't help but be invested.
This movie's just like, that's the main appeal of the movie for me. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you can think of other movies that have that though.
Yeah,
where there's like a sidekick character like thrown away, and then they come back to save the day all of a sudden.
But this one, it
just at the right moment.
It's
like,
this one straight up is just like kind of funny to me.
The script wrote it perfectly. You know, the scriptwriter's so proud of it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this movie does feel a little like, oh, they teach this movie in like American classic film schools kind of thing.
I'm honestly curious if they do. Honestly,
they have to. I mean,
fair.
It's a perfect.
Because I think this is like Tarantino, one of his like all-time favorite movies, which like makes sense.
And John Carpenter.
Oh, really? Okay.
Apparently, Assault on Precinct 13 is kind of like his remake of this.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean to watch that.
No, I need to watch it too. No, I have it downloaded, dude.
Okay. Walter Brennan's character.
Yeah, because we should talk. Yeah, I think
should we just talk about character
about
moments? Is like how we should talk about this?
Because I kind of said that's what I don't like about it as much. That's a good way to talk about it.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of great moments with this character, but I think my favorite is it sort of has to also do with Dean Martin. When Dean Martin gets to shave, and basically he's like so happy about it, and then you hear you're with John Wayne's character, and you hear the gunshot go off. And you think for a second, like, oh, holy shit, like, the sneak attack on the jail. And then you see, like, basically, he looks so different now from his shave and, like, his, like, do-over. Like, he does, honestly. And, like, the fact that Walter Brand, like, just, like, I didn't know who that guy was. Someone
and he just, like, stop talking. See, I actually, that's why I'm, like, I actually like Dean Martin. He's, like, my favorite character in the movie, because I actually agree with him when he's like, just shut up.
Well, yeah, everyone's annoyed by him. That's the thing. That's a part of his character, like, a big part of it, like...
but like that's how people defend Jar Jar. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, there's levels. Come on.
There is. No, he's a great actor too. Like he's playing the role well. It's more just like he is playing this like theatrical clown character almost.
Yeah, I mean, and it's even like Altman made fun of that in Long Goodbye. Do you remember the scene? Because in the scene in Long Goodbye when Elliot Gould's getting tailed by that guy, and like he's like joking around with him, and basically he tells the gate guy to do a Walter Brennan impersonation for the guy behind him. Yeah, that's the impersonation he did. And it's so good.
Wait, that's the impersonation he did in this movie?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to go back and rewatch it. I haven't seen that. But I've seen that movie twice. So.
Yeah, it's...
Because I know... Because that's a great shot of like his reflection in the car behind, like Elliot Gould's car.
Yeah.
Or it's actually the guy's following him's car.
Yeah.
And he's like stretching out his arm. I don't know why I remember that.
Yeah,
it's a great shot.
It's a great shot. Oh my god. But
you know what I'm talking about? The shot I'm talking about?
I know the arm.
Because he's like he's like the parking gate guy, right?
Yeah. I don't remember the reflection. I remember the arm out, but is there an actual reflection?
Yeah, it's like in a car or something.
Okay,
I would need a reflection of something. Yeah.
We'll look at it.
I'll show you.
Honestly.
But that's what I'm saying. This movie is, you can tell it's like really influential. Honestly, in that maybe the hangout aspect, how to make characters likable and stuff.
Yeah. Which and actually, I'm pretty sure from what I understand, Howard Hawks kind of remade this movie. And a movie called, I think it's Rio...
Who did?
Howard Hawks did.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it's Rio Grande, I think the name is. That might be wrong. Hold on, let me look at this. I don't want to, because it's with Dean Martin and John Wayne, too.
Damn. And
it's like a lot more... Oh, it's not Rio Grande. That's a John Ford movie. Hold on. I will figure this out.
Because this movie I thought was pretty late in John... like, what year is this?
1959.
So.
This one was in the 60s. It's like 5 years. El Dorado. It's 66.
But it actually is a remake?
Yeah, that's what people say, basically. Because, here's the... Because people say it's a bit more grittier, but it's still, like, very much like a soft kind of remake. It's like an Ozu, like, remake.
So maybe that is what I'm kind of saying. That's what Westerns are in a lot of ways.
I mean, I can't say it. No. I haven't seen the movie, but, like, the plot synopsis is... Cole Thornton, a gunfighter for hire, joins forces with an old friend, Sheriff J.P. Hurrah. Together with a fighter and a gambler, they help a rancher and his family fight a rival rancher that's trying to steal their water. So it's like sort of the same premise, like, but I haven't seen it though, so I can't really comment on it that much.
But that's the thing, if you see it and like the characters feel the same, then I can see that.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think we talked about Walter Brennan. Is there anything else?
I want to talk. The character I want to talk about, and really what brings it down a little bit for me in the movie is the woman character. It's like
I get that.
forced. Dude.
I knew you were gonna have problems with that storyline.
Yeah,
I knew it. I
like, dude, think about Unstoppable. What we're gonna talk about next.
Yeah.
And think about that handles those story like a romance in those, which it doesn't. There's no romance, which is exactly the point.
There's a difference though, because they're disconnected from the situation. The woman,
but
like in a physical sense. They're watching it in full.
But this is what I'm saying. Both of them are trying to have real time aspects to them. Like there's pressure on what the brother's going to do. You know, you're supposed to feel this pressure kind of. But one of them is more. I guess what you're saying is one of them. There actually isn't that pressure. You're not supposed to feel that because it is more of a hangout.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too.
But at the same time, like it just feels forced. You know.
Okay. Yeah, to me, like,
unless you can defend it, unless someone can be like, it's actually
my defense is that
reflection on the West.
My defense is I agree. It is kind of like it's very much supposed to be the romantic character, but I still enjoy the scenes enough where it's like despite their inclusion, it doesn't hinder the movie at all for me. Like I'm still like cool with the scenes because I do think a lot of this scenes with him and her and John Wayne I think are hilarious. Like Sheriff, I think you forgot your pants. Like,
oh my gosh!
It's so funny though. Come on, the big thing about her character too is that she's sort of supposed to bring John Wayne's down a peg, basically. Like,
does she? Think about
she
this.
Does like
does she at all? Like
at the beginning,
she falls in love with him right away.
Oh, and she like teases him too. And I think
how does that bring a man down?
Well, and I'm not like I'm saying like. Because his ego, basically, in a way.
Kind of.
That's kind of how I feel like her character.
All right. It's like one of those, like, okay.
But I get why you don't like it, though. Like,
really,
I think it's a
the really defense is, like, we have to have a romance in this movie.
Very much. But it's like, I don't care. Like, that's
kind
of how I feel
that's
about
fair.
it. Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Like, it's kind of how
because the man who shot Liberty Valance also has a kind of similar female, like, you could say that, but in my opinion, she feels way more necessary in that movie.
Oh, for sure.
Like it's even told from like her perspective.
But once again,
she's the reason for the.
But once again, those female characters I feel like are serving different purposes. That's kind of.
That's what I'm saying though. In this one, she just feels like it's she has to be there kind of thing.
Yeah, I totally get why you have problems with it. I knew, but also like yeah. But
in that one, she feels way more necessary to the actual integral part of the story.
And she also,
in this one, that's what I'm saying.
And also, by the end, she's supposed to kind of bring out the emotions in John Wayne, make him more vulnerable. I should say, like maybe that's a better way to say, because like the whole because typically the sheriff in like a western, like a lot of time he's like the tough guy, like doesn't
except
open
for
up
when
to
he's
everyone.
around a woman though.
But that. Okay, maybe I haven't watched enough shitty westerns. I would need. Maybe I shouldn't comment on it too much. But like at the end, I love.
I think what you're saying is true. I mean, I'm just saying like it just feels a little forced with the rest of the movie.
Okay, I feel that. Which
because she doesn't have any kind of freedom outside of that, bringing out John Wayne's emotions, showing his ego or whatever. You know, that's literally why she's there.
Yeah. I mean, she is like, she very much is trapped in the hotel.
Yes, exactly. Or she's supposed to bring down John Wayne's ego, but falls in love with him right away. Even though, like, I mean, if we're just jugging on looks, it should be the other way around. It shouldn't be close. I mean, this guy, he was already aging by this point. Unless she knows he's John Wayne.
Oh,
which she doesn't, obviously, because it's a movie. But
oh my god.
There is a moment though with her where like she's talking to him. And then the young cowboy walks in.
Yeah.
I forgot what they're talking about or something. But she does, like, all of a sudden she just stares at... Because I actually noticed, she just stares at him the whole scene. As they're talking.
Okay.
Almost like she might change her attention.
That's another big thing about this movie. The gestures are so important. And
you can tell he's a silent fan for sure.
Oh, yeah. Like...
That's what I'm saying. Like, it gets a lot of talky at points, too. Like,
but to me, the dialogue is just so good. Like I love the dialogue too much. Like, it's like... Because it's very much like classic, like smart ass, like just so many like quotable lines. Like to me, it's like the talkiness doesn't.
I don't necessarily hate dialogue too. It is just like it's trying to play both. Where I'm like, just commit to one. Like where I'm, like I love Romer. It's like at least he has all dialogue. You know, if you're gonna go dialogue, just go all in. You know, versus being like, oh, we have to have this element of a western, you know, or exciting moment here where we have to pretend they're going to die for a few moments. Like, we know they're not going to die, so why even have the moment?
Okay, that's fair.
Stuff like that. But that's criticism of just, like, action movies in general, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Would you consider westerns action movies?
Okay, you can't... To me, you can't label a genre a western an action movie. Well, because you still have stuff like John Ford, which John Ford's movies are barely even... They're not even action. Like...
But action movies, but westerns can be action. Movies.
Yes, they can be action, of course.
But not all westerns are action movies.
No, of course not.
Yes.
I mean, who in their right mind is calling McCabe vs. Miller an action movie?
Okay.
Like,
it's barely a western.
Yeah, even then, like it's
that's why genres they're actually interesting to talk about too, because like I do find them interesting, like what they are and like even how they form in general. Like how like why do we find certain things interesting as because you grew up in a certain place? Like people will watch certain animated movies, like even animation styles, just because they grew up with it. You know, and that's almost like a genre in its own right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't like how formulaic they can be.
That's fair. I get why your problems with the movie exist, but who should we talk about next though? I mean, Dean Martin, I guess. Dean Martin, obviously.
I think because he is my favorite. His like kind of, I guess you can say, would you call it a growth or more like maybe just not falling apart? Really, or just like kind of interesting.
It is growth though in a way because he really does like, or maybe it's like recovery. Maybe
you know what it reminds me of?
Because he used to be because they say he used to be like the best like shot in town or whatever. Like he used to be like a deputy that was like so good like with his gun. But then basically he fell in love with a girl that broke his heart. And basically he started drinking a ton.
Yes, because he does mention at the end too, right? Or towards the end.
Well, yeah, because I
forget if he mentions that at the beginning or not, but
I think.
Or when do we learn that?
You learn it like in the middle, towards like middle
endish.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was thinking too. But what else? My favorite scene with Dean Martin is, and why I'm saying it's almost like just we see him just not fall is like there's that moment where he's like about to drink and his like hand is shaking and stuff, and then he hears the music outside the window. Because
the thing is, it's you realize that's why they set it up before, which the setup scene is also really good. Yes. Like basically the whole setup is basically the brother of the guy in jail told the band basically in one of the bars to play this certain piece of music that the Mexicans play.
Called?
I don't know what it's called.
I'll find it. Yeah, Cutthroat Song.
Oh my god! Yeah. It's basically the song that the Mexican army played for the U.S. soldiers in the Alamo while they were like surrounding them. To basically like, I guess the purpose is like to reinforce basically like reinforce that they're like trapped basically. But like the piece of music's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And like it basically kind of just of course signifies what
because we should mention he had already gotten kidnapped and they had rescued him at this point, so that's why he's like scared and everything. He's kind of shook. He's like really shook too. Yes.
And he's like basically like
that's why he's thinking about drinking again and stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be in like the deputy anymore. He like gave him his badge or whatever, and then he hears the music and it's just like okay. He's like I forgot why I was in this in the first place. Like
no, like that moment can definitely like that's a great moment of like probably any addict or recovering addict could relate to in terms of being like it's like those kind of moments where like you want to go back to drinking, you know, where he almost does until he hears that music and he's like okay. He just decides, and this is probably my favorite moment in the movie where he decides not to. Yeah. Because what it reminds me of is you've seen The Devil Probably, right?
Yes. Do
you remember that moment at the end where like they're like walking towards their like basically his suicide, you could call it. It's like more up in the air if you watch the movie, but and he hears some music playing in like a window.
Okay.
As he walks by, and he stops, and you almost think like, oh, he's actually gonna change his mind by hearing the music.
Oh, I don't remember this.
But he doesn't.
I need to rewatch that probably, but
he doesn't. You should watch it.
Okay.
Because he doesn't, and that's almost the difference between like Brisson and Howard Hawks to me. It's like, but it's not even. It's just a thing. Like both of them, you know, like Brisson. But like they both make you think about that moment though. I think in a very similar ways. Like that's what music.
They're different filmmakers. I'm sure they have different worldviews. So like a bit.
But I'm saying that moment is very similar in terms of like what music can do.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Like, yeah. Like, but in Brisson's, he like thinks about it, and it makes you think about it. Like, oh, maybe he's gonna change his mind. Yeah. But then he keeps going, and this one is like it actually does make him change his mind.
Yeah. And do you love both ways of doing it?
I love both ways. Okay, it actually makes you just think about what music can do, though.
Yeah.
You know, why it even exists in the first place.
Hawks used music really well, especially in this movie.
He does.
But
because we haven't even talked about the song. I mean, are we gonna? Because we've already used that song, I think.
Yeah, we can do it again. It's too good.
Because there's another. They also sing another song.
They do after. Yeah, we could do either one.
It is just so good.
We're talking about Dean Martin, so we'll get there eventually.
Okay.
Because Dean Martin has. I remember. So specifically the shootout scenes in the bar we kind of briefly mentioned earlier, where basically one of the brother paid one of his guys to kill the old leader of the cavalry that came in or whatever. I forgot what the name of the whole unit is, but basically he kills that guy for hire, and basically they're chasing him to try and arrest him, and the hitman goon guy runs into this bar, and basically they set it up Dude, his name's Dude, by the way. Dean Martin. I'm just gonna call him Dean Martin.
Which is so weird because in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, who's the bad guy?
Oh yeah. Fuck, I forgot his name. Because it's the same guy in the jail, right? That's the same actor.
Is it? But either way,
they look similar.
He keeps saying the word "dude" over and over again.
Okay, damn.
I'm just saying that because I watched them back to back.
Okay, so weird. That's fair. But Dean Martin takes a shot at him, and you feel like you missed it first, which it turns out later that he actually hit him kind of just grazed him basically enough to make him bleed. Yeah, but you don't realize that it's a setup for later because they go into the bar. Dean's like, I'll take the front this time, you take the back. And I remember this first time I watched the movie. This is the scene that hooked me. I was like, okay, I'm in for something. This is special.
What? Okay, what about it? Especially
just the fact that he walks in. I mean, it's basically self-explanatory for me. He walks in basically Dean Martin's commanding them. Everyone's kind of still joking about him being an alcoholic. He's forcing everyone to do everything. And then basically he feels like he's out, but then he goes and walks over to the beer glass and sees the blood basically in it, and then basically what you see in the middle of the scene, he reveals the bomb under the table basically with the guy in the rafters basically, because the Hitchcock theory the bomb under the table that's kind of the bomb under the table in the scene, and then he sees the blood, and then he basically really cool walks away, and there's all of a sudden points his gun up and shoots the guy, and he falls.
That was a good moment.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Even though it is kind of they went through all this effort to clean everything up with the booze tracks, but they didn't see this blood all over this cup.
I mean, but I don't care.
It is a good
it's
moment.
So good, it doesn't
moment.
matter. Who cares? It's cool as shit.
It's a Sherlock moment.
Is that like this? Or?
It's something Sherlock would do, except for the gun part. But
I didn't know if you were being negative with that.
No, just it is a detective moment.
Yeah, it's great, especially the way he shoots it too, because the shot of the guy up in the rafters and then him falling down is great.
It is.
And then the one guy is we didn't see anyone running here, and then John Wayne goes, "We'll remember you said that." And then at the end, after they shoot him, John Wayne just knocks him out. Oh my god, that shit's hilarious. Trying to think, what else happened with Dean Martin? I mean, he does go through a lot. I mean,
that to me, that's kind of his big moment. I mean, he does have his big moment in the shootout too, because they do kidnap him a second time.
Yeah, it's a funny thing about this movie. Just he gets kidnapped again.
He is, because does he ever stop being a drunk, or does he drink the whole movie?
He remember they say in that one scene I'm sober starting last night basically. He's trying to throughout the movie.
He's trying,
but he keeps on relapsing.
Yeah,
that's kind of the point. And then,
but I feel that's why I like that music moment too, because at least in that one moment it stops him.
Yeah,
it doesn't promise it's forever going to stop you or anything. It is still
yeah.
No, it is. That's why I kind of like it. He's the most kind of ambiguous, at least, character in my mind.
Yeah, that's a good point.
John, like I said, John Wayne, you just said, John Wayne. He just knocks the character out blind. He is kind of more the classic hero in this. Because he's good, he can just get away with a lot of stuff.
But it's John Wayne's so good. I don't care. I guess that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Right.
I just enjoy it too much.
I like John Wayne, but I'm not gonna see. Would you watch a movie because it's John Wayne?
Sure,
because he was also considered kind of a genre,
Honestly, I think I would, because I do really like John Wayne's
would you have been in theaters John Wayne's movie's coming out, it's 1945 or something?
Of course, everyone did that. I really like his voice. Honestly, that's kind of my favorite part about it.
Okay, yes,
his voice is so good. Just how
that's what I'm saying. He fits John Ford's movies so much better when they're so much more epic and stuff, and
I don't know. He fits Hawks too. In my opinion.
He fits Hawks. I'm saying so much better.
Okay, that's fair.
Wait, who do you like more?
forward.
Okay.
But I do love Hawks, and you should watch Atari, honestly, because
I do need to watch that. I definitely.
John Wayne is the lead in that, and that's even more hangout than this movie. Like,
see, that's
movie's
maybe
like,
where a poster will get you to watch the movie.
Oh my god, the poster's like it's basically like Hawks just like from what I've seen so far, it's basically his ultimate hangout. Like he basically shot like some scenes, some animal trapping scenes, and basically he shot those and basically just like shot whatever around it because it's like oh yeah, like it's
you got me intrigued.
I'm trying to sell you on it, but it's so good.
It's just long as fuck, you know.
I'm telling you, it's worth it. Like, because this movie. Okay, did you think
it sounds like he should have cut out the humans? Is what I'm hearing, but I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But
I just
did you have a problem with this length of this movie? Because it's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Problem. That's what I'm saying. Like 20, you cut that romance out. It's a clean 2 hours. You get out of there.
It goes by so fast to me. I don't know.
It does. It's like the romances feel so forced, and that's why I'm saying like I don't hate romance necessarily in a movie. It's just most of them feel so forced in a movie that's made for something else.
Okay.
You know, it's almost like okay, yeah, you can make this movie, but you have to have this fucking 20-minute more romance in here.
Yeah. Okay, I see that for
you
sure.
Know.
But I mean,
because it's almost like two different stories going on. Like, am I supposed to feel tense about this whole situation, or am I supposed to just
not
feel
really
like
though? That's the whole thing with the movie.
Okay,
like, it's not really.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, not really until there's like a 20-minute shootout where everything's supposed to be tense. You're supposed to at some level
doesn't feel tense to me. Like it's just fun. They're really playing shot put with the goddamn dynamite.
It does become fun after a moment where John Wayne's like, "Oh, he'll win. He'll win. Don't worry, he'll win."
My God. It's like how carefree this whole movie is. I guess
that's fair. That's fair. Okay, maybe I'm taking it too seriously.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah, I won't say that. But anyway,
what do you think? What do you think? Like, do you think an audience at the time was thinking that though?
I mean, Hawks is kind of a chill filmmaker, from what I've seen.
Right.
Like he's not a super like.
That's what I'm saying. That's maybe what I don't like about him. He tends to go back and forth to me, or it feels like that.
Wait, what other Hawks movies have you seen?
I've seen it here. I just had it pulled up.
Well, you've seen The Big Sleep for sure. I know that.
I've seen His Girl Friday, Red River, The Big Sleep, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Oh, you've seen Gentlemen Prefer Blondes?
It was a while ago.
Oh, okay, damn. I love that movie so much because that's a hangout musical, honestly, with Marilyn Monroe, like. Oh, it's so good. I mean, yeah.
Wait, why is it not showing my rating on Letterboxd?
Are you signed in? Because sometimes Letterboxd signs me out randomly.
Actually, I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I've seen it.
No.
I've only seen 3.
Oh, okay.
The Big Sleep, Red River, and His Girl Friday.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, that's fair. I haven't seen. I need to watch more for sure.
For sure. And I mean, I still need to watch more. He's a lot of movies.
Yeah, I definitely need to.
But yeah,
I did His Girl Friday. I watched a long time ago.
Yeah, I've seen his 2 big screwball comedies, Bringing Up Baby and His Girl Friday, and I wasn't super into them because like I think I prefer him as like a hangout filmmaker rather than Screwball. But I do want to read
Screwball feels kind of hangout to me, like
I guess in a way, like but they're not as chill. They don't feel as chill as like his hangout movies in a way. Is kind of how I feel about it. But maybe I do need to give him another chance though, because when I watched those, I didn't think I was really gonna ever get into screwball comedies, and then I watched What's Up, Doc, the Peter Bogdanovich movie, and I was like, and it's a screwball comedy. I was like, holy fuck, okay, I need to revisit them.
And dude, we were mentioning McCabe and Mr. Miller and Rio Bravo, but The Big Sleep and Long Goodbye have a direct connection.
Oh, wait.
The Philip Marlowe.
Yeah. Wait. Okay.
Because I was already looking at The Big Sleep. I was like, that movie kind of feels like a floaty like noir. And I was like, damn, that's actually The Long Goodbye. Like we that's how we literally describe Oldman. Yeah. It was like, oh wait, actually they're the same fucking character. Long
Goodbye gets really convoluted too.
Yeah, they're like the same kind. They're supposed to be like spiritually the same character.
Yeah.
Or at least you can see it that way.
Damn. Okay, I need to rewatch The Big Sleep.
Same.
Now, yeah. Oh damn. Okay, the Altman Hawks connection. To be fair, Hawks definitely inspired like a ton of people. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. John Carpenter on his top 10 put 3 Howard Hawks movies.
Tarantino, I know,
that's crazy, dude. That's too. Well, I love John Carpenter, but that's crazy.
He put like 3 Buñuels too, didn't he? Like 2 or 3.
It was 2 Buñuels, which is not crazy at all. But.
Okay, but John Carpenter it's like the guy doesn't give a fuck.
Like, dude. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Like, I don't care.
Or Buñuel, truly. His movies don't give a fuck. Like, that's why Hawks, to me, to some degree, he falls slaves to the genre.
Really? Do you think I think he sort of has that don't give a fuck nature to him a bit.
But why? There's just too much into where I'm like, okay, why is this there?
I see what you're saying, honestly.
You know? maybe I'm too critical of certain movies. Like maybe it's like in a sci-fi, if it was 220 and there was a romance, I'd be like, oh, maybe I'd be more willing to accept it. But
okay. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. I just hate that in most movies when it feels so forced.
Okay.
You know.
I guess I mean, sometimes it bothers me, but like for me, it's just like yeah. I mean, yeah, and we're probably different in that aspect, like how much it bothers us too. I'm sure. But I mean, is there anything else? We were talking about Dean Martin. I don't know if there's anything else, any moments in particular. Well, I guess we can talk about John Wayne, which we've kind of already talked about him.
We've kind of been talking about all of them.
Yeah.
Throughout,
but one moment I want to specifically a shootout I wanted to mention.
Okay.
This could be my favorite shootout. There's like 3 different shootouts in the movie that could be my favorite, but the one where him and Colorado team up in that shootout, and the girl too.
They all help. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is because basically they it's the first time they kidnapped Dean Martin.
Yeah.
And John Wayne's like, because Dean Martin's job is to like wait at the beginning of the town, basically to make sure everyone's guns are put on the fence. Basically, the bad guys take him out when John Wayne isn't looking. And the big thing about it is after he got his shave and everything, and he was looking at himself in the water, like, and basically that's how they got like the chance to sneak attack him.
Yeah.
So that's kind of another thing that led to the drinking moment that we talked about. But basically, they put a guy put the Dean Martin's vest on, and basically this guy's acting like him. But John Wayne's walking, so he's gonna find out when he gets there. And then basically, the bad guys stop John Wayne held at gunpoint, and Colorado sees this and is like, tells the girl to throw when I get out on that on the porch, toss the flower pot through the window, and oh my god, like. I think my favorite moment of this is like it's so smooth how he just like when the power pot goes and he just tosses the rifle to flips the rifle.
It's so fast. It's so fast.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, like, I do like that. I like that scene a lot.
Yeah. And then like I think and then the girl gets like is mortified now because she's like, oh my god, which I kind of like that honestly about her, like because she is kind of set up as like the criminal, like a criminal at first, like.
Is she a prostitute in the movie? Or is that what they're implying?
She's the wife of the gambler who was wanted.
But what about her going on stage or whatever?
I think she's working for the bar because she gets the job at the bar. Basically, she's like the entertainment.
But isn't she? He keeps saying like he's going to stop her from going on stage or something.
Well, because he's like, I don't want anyone to see you in that in that revealing of clothing. Basically.
But what stage is she talking about? Just the bar.
Just the bar. I'm pretty sure. Like just entertain. That's a thing they used to do. Come on.
Like this. Like her working behind the bar is like a stage. She's saying,
or no, that's definitely a thing that happened back in the day. I'm sure, like in a lot of westerns too. I'm sure, like entertainment, like a girl like dancing or something, doing like a cabaret sort of thing. Like I can see it. I assume that's what.
I wasn't sure. That's what I was asking. Like,
no, but that's a great moment too because I guess we're talking.
Basically, she's saying like that he's jealous.
But what I love especially about that scene is the dialogue. Let me. I have quotes up from the movie. Okay, yeah, because he said, I'll arrest you if you go out into it. And she starts, like, crying. Because, like, she says, I thought you were never going to say it. Say what? That you love me. I said I'd arrest you. It means the same thing. You know that.
Okay.
That's so great.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say this is it's bad. But do you remember when I said, like, before we did this movie, I was like, Howard Hawks kind of has, like, cornball tendencies?
I don't see his cornball. I think it's
not. When it feels forced to me, that's why it feels kind of cornball. And I'm like, when the romance feels forced, it's like literally, we know they're in love from the very beginning.
Well, I think he.
So it's like not surprising.
Because the thing is,
but you can say
maybe they are in love, but he doesn't know how to express it, and that's like his way of expressing love. That's kind of what I love about it, like, because he is that very like. He is like very reserved, stern, like doesn't want to show his like true like show emotion in general. I feel like with John Wayne, and that's his only way of doing it, like in a way, like
all right.
That's kind of what I love about it.
All right.
I mean, I could be. No, I'm right.
No, you're definitely right about it. I'm just like, does it fit in this movie? Like if it was a movie about them, they're two characters, where it's not just like 10 to 15 minutes of screen time, where it's like we literally get it. They're in love right away. We don't know why. Well, to be fair, he does. Like the second camera shows their close-ups of them looking at him, we know.
But okay, but do you think you're saying they're in love? But he very much wants to ship her away a lot of the movie. Granted, that could be him like not wanting to confront his emotions.
Exactly.
But plus, I like that about that, though, I guess.
All right. To me, like, I never see that conflict there that you're seeing, like,
of himself, like, with himself.
Yeah. It's like, okay, we know they're in love.
Well, because
it's a Western, you know, like.
I think you kind of need to think about, like, John Wayne, like, roles in general.
Just the ego, like, how.
Yeah, just like, because, like, think about The Searchers and, like,
that's
Man Shall Live Now, it's like.
But to me, those are way more than this one, where it's like, this one's like, I don't see how his ego is broken in any way where a girl falls in love with you right away, and like her whole movie is like just her trying to convince him of that.
Well, I kind of see it from the beginning when, of course, we get the when the Mexican bartender is like showing him the pants that came in the mail for his wife, and then like she's like making fun of him, and like just the look on John Wayne's face is like he's embarrassed.
All right.
That's kind of the setup I feel like for that, and there's other times too. I'm pretty sure where it happens. I can't remember specifically.
All right. I'll buy it.
Okay. Damn. Have we talked about everything?
I think we talked about most things. Like, do you like the ending too as well? Like, maybe just close off. Do you like how it? Because you said the shootout. You want maybe?
I love the shootout.
Like, what about it specifically?
Just how everyone in the movie, like this. I think that's a big thing about like the brotherhood in this movie, like the camaraderie. Like everyone's just showing up, but I find it like really funny. Like, oh yeah, everyone's just like, even the Mexican bartender is like I'll load you bullets for you, and like I think he even takes a gun at some point, and starts shooting too. Like, and then the way they treat it like a game basically, and like. Throwing up dynamite, shooting it like shot put, like and like making that to blow up the house that the bad guys are in.
And that's how it saves. Yeah, that's how
I just love it so much, honestly. Like
that is fair.
It's a shootout I haven't seen before. Like that's kind of why I love the shootouts in this movie. It's like a lot of stuff that like is very creative to me.
Dude, have you seen Romer's Boyfriends and Girlfriends?
No, not sure where you're going from that.
Okay, because they were all few fans of Hawks.
Yeah,
and I maybe you should read. I think I've maybe showed you one of their essays. I think it might have been either Rivette or Romer wrote that I remember reading that was good. But like, I'm going to spoil the ending, but you'll probably forget by the time. Is that okay? Is that okay, or do you want me to say it?
Romer's a director.
It's not
you don't really need to know
okay, but basically, it's like kind of he sets up like a melodrama though. Like it's like a very realistic, a lot of dialogue, but it's still like the genre is, you could say, melodrama.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is it's set up like this really dramatic melodrama, but at the very end of the movie, like the last 5 minutes, it just undercuts it all by being like all the characters just talk about it and they just like come to a very civil conclusion.
Yeah.
You know, where you think it's gonna be all dramatic and stuff.
Damn. Okay.
And this movie is kind of like that, where it's like you think it's gonna be really dramatic, and then like you're saying, it's like it's not. It's just all of a sudden they just throw some dynamite, shoot it, and then they win.
Yeah, just treat it as a joke. Basically.
Yeah, it's like they win, and then John Wayne gets the girl and everything.
Which, by the way, the final shot in this movie is hilarious because it's he tosses the dress out the window, and basically, and then Walter Brennan and Dean Martin catches it, and it's like, basically making a joke like, oh, he's getting lucky tonight, and then like, they're like walking away. Walter Brennan like puts it around, it's his neck, and like, oh, it's so funny.
No, because he says, he picks it up. He's like, "You think I'll ever get to be sheriff?" And then he says, "Not unless you mind your own business."
Oh yeah! Oh my god, it's so funny.
But that's also what I'm saying, though. Of course, John Wayne gets the girl, because he's a sheriff.
But it's like I don't. You're
like, I don't care.
It's good. That's my rebuttal.
That's fair. Because it isn't like, once again, film. I think you can say that with films. Like, if you can really defend it by, at least in your own mind, really liking it instead of just lying it for other people. But like, where you could literally be like, I don't care, I still like it, because it is like what you're seeing at the end of the day. You experience it with it.
Yeah. And this is the third time I've watched this too, it's a great rewatch movie because it's just like
did you watch it for the first time this year?
Last summer I watched it, and I watched it like a couple months ago just to rewatch it, and then I decided to do this podcast. I watched it again. It's so.
Does Blake like this movie? Has he seen it?
He hasn't seen it.
Damn.
So I know he'll be watching it to listen to the episode, but Rio Bravo. Oh, we didn't even talk about the music scene. We forgot to talk about it. Okay. Just like, okay, so like basically...
Well, they heard it at the beginning. Are we going to play the whole thing?
Or maybe not the whole thing, just like probably one of the songs. We can decide afterwards. Okay, but basically, this is after Colorado joins and Dean Martin has his moment. And basically, just movie stops to just give us like a nice like group singing session. It's just like, oh my god, it's so good. Like So you love this moment too, right?
I do.
Okay.
The purple light.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Dean Martin's voice is amazing.
It is, and honestly, that's what makes it though. Like his voice always sticks out in my head. And then when the younger cowboy joins in too, is also great.
Oh yeah, you can see they're country singers. Like,
dude.
Like it's so funny because like
it is like it's a good one. You're like, fuck, I need to go rewatch that scene on YouTube or something.
Wait, what's funny is like I kind of have in my mind like it. I feel like this is definitely like a scene that the studio wanted. Like, oh yeah, you have country stars in your movie, you should get them to sing. But it just works so well, like you don't care. Like,
like Hawks makes a way to make it work.
Yeah, and like this. Oh man, the studio may be cooking.
But dude, that's the difference. Like, remember when we did Contempt? Yeah. And like Godard says something like, "That's the difference between the script, which is in words, versus like a film, which is in images."
Yeah.
Like that's the difference, honestly, between what a director and a script is.
Yeah.
Where even if someone you say that this was a forced scene. A director can make it work.
Yes,
you know,
to where it doesn't feel forced at all.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
It just feels natural, like with this movie. Which,
it does. Dude.
Amazing scene.
Because what leads up to them like singing? Oh no, it's right after. It's a scene right after. Because honestly, we should have talked about it right after.
Yeah,
because it all flows like this whole idea of music in general.
Yeah.
Which honestly makes this. You mentioning that he's a country music star makes that that other moment even better. You know?
Yeah. Wait.
That moment of him not drinking when he hears the music.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Damn. And just I love I love the way Dean Martin is like laying on the the bench in the back, like with his hat down. Like, oh, it's so good.
Honestly, singing that to sing that low voice, like laying down like that,
yeah,
like
it's
so
crazy.
hard.
Like, bro, you're just flexing on us this point.
It must have been it must have been a soundtrack. Like they must have added the voice
maybe
because it sounds so good though.
Oh, it's so good, man. That's like that might be the scene in the movie though in a way. Like when I think about this movie, like that's kind of the scene I think about. Like
it probably is.
Just kind of it's so good. But.
Or something, or Walter Brennan laughing.
Yeah.
His laugh or some talking. Or
just
something.
the way he waddles around.
Yeah.
Great.
Maybe the overemphasis makes it memorable at least, you know.
Oh yeah, he's definitely memorable. Like yeah. Oh man, but I think that's
Rio Bravo. We spent like an hour on it, so
I mean it's a movie you that's interesting to talk about.
It is
because the characters are so interesting in my opinion.
And like you said, there's not really plot, so you can kind of just talk about adding a little moment you want to.
Yeah. Honestly, which Hawks is full of moments. Honestly, it's great. It's kind of what I like about him. Right now.
Which leads us to this next movie.
Yes.
Which you could say is all plot.
Yeah.
And by being all plot, you can just focus on any little moment, really.
Okay, should you explain why you picked this for me, though, before we get into it?
Because, you're an action hater.
Okay. You could go more into
you explain yourself.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Because you're the one who doesn't like John.
Okay.
Every time we suggest, maybe we shoot an action movie, you're the one who hates.
Okay, John Woo I actually think is really good. I just need to.
Not according to the evidence on Letterboxd.
I liked his movies quite a bit, and I think I'll like him more on rewatch. Killer and
Better Tomorrow.
Better Tomorrow, yeah.
Okay.
I really like both those movies, and I'm sure there's a good chance I'll give it. I'll love it.
Blake and I know you're probably gonna like the later ones less.
Okay. But here's the thing. Okay. Thing with action is it's complicated because it's like I don't like. I think my main thing with action is I'm not really super into mindless action. Like when there's so much going on in terms of action that I'm a bit I get a bit spaced out and I'm just kind of get out of it. Something about that. Maybe I haven't explored enough. That's kind of I feel like modern action's that's kind of turned into a lot of that. It just kind of gets a bit too noisy, I guess. Is that a good word?
Okay, more about this though, because I kind of agree and I kind of disagree. Because to some degree, I actually think the definition of action in a film is mindless, because it's happening all on screen, right? It's supposed to be whatever's happening on screen. That's literally
But
the thing is, what's exciting.
So my favorite action director though kind of counters that because it's King Hu, and a lot of his action's very methodical, very.
But does he have very quiet moments?
Yes. Well,
so,
quiet moments
gaps, between the action.
Yes, very much.
That's what I'm saying. The literal definition to me of action is mindless.
Okay.
When you're actually seeing the action. But an action movie can have gaps between where you get to think about what you're saying, where it's not mindless.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But there are a lot of action movies where it wants you to the whole movie be just mindless. Yeah, where it's just action, right? Where you're saying a lot of good action movies can be both, where it has good action but at the same time it also lets you think or lets you breathe. Almost.
Yeah, that's a good way. I never thought about that way. That definitely is interesting. Like,
because if you think about it, like when you're watching an actual action scene, where
Yeah.
something exciting is happening, you really don't want to be thinking too much about something that's not actually happening on the screen. If it's good action, you actually want to watch like Jackie Chan do something.
Like,
you don't want to be thinking about like what it means in a greater context of society.
But I like when like action scenes like use the geography really well.
But that's what I'm saying. Everything on screen should be important.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess like also like sometimes I feel like a lot of the scenes like this kind of goes into what we're saying like the action feels in a way like weightless in a way. Like that, because that's the thing that draws me to John Woo more than a lot of modern action movies. His bullets, you feel like his bullets basically when they come out. Like the way I don't know.
He's known for inventing gung fu.
Yeah, like just
because he really didn't like kung fu.
His action's very much like poetic, like kind of like King Hu. So that's what something like I think I'll really like John Woo on rewatch.
But dude, that's true with like a lot of great action movies.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. Like I feel like what I said could change. I'm not someone who's dead set on like, I'm not really into modern action. Like I feel like I can change my mind on a lot of it, but that's just kind of how I feel in the moment. It just I don't want to say I dislike it. I'm just not excited about it. But this movie, I guess I can go into what I love about this movie is like, well, this movie doesn't have any guns or anything, but my favorite part about this movie, which I love by the way, I'm sure you saw my rating on Letterboxd. Yeah. I love how just like kind of straight to the point it was, because it's a like straight like clean 90-minute movie. I just love kind of just like how it's very like very straight to the point pretty much. And this is like the second Tony Scott movie I've seen, which the other one was Top Gun. And I was like, it's okay. Like
that's like more genre-ish.
Yeah,
more.
But I loved how he shot. Like I love like these little zooms he uses throughout. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Like it's. Yeah, I thought the characters were really well set up, and like, I think I saw someone, I forgot where I saw it. They referred to this movie as a monster movie. Oh, like where the train is a monster, like because like the train is like his own character basically. Yes. That's also the thing that I love it. Like, and all like the action scenes. Would you refer this as an action movie?
Oh yeah,
technically, okay. I
think so. That's what I was gonna ask you.
Because I guess it's like, do you think action movies have to have weaponry to be an action movie? It's like the big question. No. But yeah, I had a great time with this movie, and it felt like I just loved it. That really just like how straight to the point it was. I loved, and how much also the characters were actually I feel like had really good depth and were interesting in themselves. Which I think since I can bring up like the connection I feel like between this movie is very much camaraderie based. I feel like in a way.
Okay.
Like basically people working together to solve, face adversity. Okay. Yes, I agree. But they're different ways of approaching it. But different ways. It's the same like general like kind of idea. That's kind of how I think about it.
Yes, I agree with that. But this is why I think this movie and why I like it more.
90 minutes.
No. Well, yes, obviously. Okay. But the two heroes in this one are heroes by doing their job, like almost literally. If you think about it, they're not like. Like literally, they're doing their job.
I do love how like they're like experts basically.
Yes, they're experts at their job, and that's why they're heroes.
Yeah,
and that's what makes them be able to save it. Even though like, versus like the Western we just watched, where they're heroes just because like the writers made them heroes. I mean, okay,
they're police officers though. Like they're deputies of the law. Right, sheriff and his deputy, of course, that's their job. Though,
all right, that's fair. That's fair. Even though like in any other context, you'd be like, I hate that the cops are heroes.
Okay, it's a Western. It's different. It's
different. The Westerns are good guys, and the cops are good guys in Westerns.
To be fair, like the guys, like the bad guys in Rio Bravo are literally bad guys because they literally are like because we didn't mention this because when he sets up that little backstory with Walter Brennan when they're like when basically Walter Brennan kind of reveals that they took land. The two brothers basically took land from him. That he used to own, basically. It's like, that land probably was really small to me, but it meant a lot to me. Like, basically, they're kind of like capitalists in a way. Like,
okay,
so in a way, like it's more nuanced. I feel like than you think.
Well, to me, that's more black and white. They're bad guys.
But you said
compared to this one, like I love like how first of all, from one side. We have the two heroes, and they do heroic acts in the movie for sure.
Yeah,
and it's filmed. It's very. Movie-like heroism, especially at the end.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, in terms of the way it's wrote and everything, like, they're heroes in their job. Like, basically at being experts on trains, that's why they're able to save the day.
Yeah, yeah.
And also the villain, if you think about it, it's not just because like two bad guys stole my land or something. Even though I mean that can be obviously a good villain, but this is more just like incompetence and corporate greed basically are the villains of this movie
for sure.
And the monster. It's like a combination of all three of those. If you think about it, like there's also like
I see where you're coming
like if you think about how the train starts, it's literally just incompetence. Which is very real. It's like that's a very real thing because like this movie is actually based on a real event that happened.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, at the beginning. And like I love like how they treat that initial scene. It's like because like it's like a fat guy trying to run the train. Like it's like they don't even think it's that big of a deal. In a way. Like,
no, they're treating it normal.
Yeah, it's an everyday occurrence. Like for them,
exactly,
like,
and that's what I like. And so then the train starts, and then also we get like the whole corporate greed aspect of. Basically, the corporation won't even try any other way before destroying the train and losing $100 million.
Yeah, that was.
Which you could say is kind of like they do like emphasize it to make you know the corporations. Bad.
Especially that one shot that's ambulance-esque. I should say ambulance kind of.
There's a definitely connection with.
Well, because remember when you get cut to the executives on the golf course during the news.
Oh damn! That is very similar. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Damn.
Because obviously, I feel like definitely Michael Bay took influence.
Oh, dude, 100%.
From Tony Scott.
Think about this movie. They're literally about a thing that can't stop.
Yeah.
And with two characters, like kind of like they're literally like their first day together. I mean, no, actually, one of them in the ambulance they were old brothers. They hadn't worked.
They're like kind of rekindling brothers in a way.
But either way, you can see what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's like
there's definitely,
and that's what I love about both of them though. It's like this. I've said this before. Almost like the real time nature of certain movies.
Yeah.
And Blake kind of hated when I mentioned the Michael Bay side connection.
To
that essay I showed you guys about that guy connected.
Side?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's one of the things that they're both similar in their own ways is making you at least try to feel real time in some kind of way.
Okay.
Yeah. And Side does the exact opposite through the long take.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about Michael Bay and Tony Scott. But we'll stick to Tony Scott now. We'll go back.
And this movie is like it's relentless too.
Oh, dude! Yeah. But he's literally a master of using montage, dude.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Because first, I was reading Blake's Unstoppable review because he does love this movie too.
Yeah.
And he mentioned the roar of the train.
Yeah.
So that may have been what you were talking about. But there have been a lot of people that have mentioned that because it's clear. Like watch it this time. You every time throughout the movie he'll cut to the train. Like it's like Godzilla or something. Like I literally think this is like he was thinking in his head. This is like the American Godzilla.
Yeah, because he really cuts to it and they like cuts to he shows in like montage
low
of
angle.
Cuts. Yeah.
The groaning gets like louder too. Like it's it's like I'm not sure, but like I can see it might be some kind of whale noise. Like mixed with something, or because it does sound like that. Because I'm pretty sure for Godzilla they combine noise with something, but either way, it sounds like some heavy, like some huge animal groaning, or more than a train.
Yeah. Okay.
And but why I say Godzilla specifically though is if you think of Godzilla as like the metaphor for the nuke, you know, of like or the nuke, or just basically destroying incompetence of a government to protect the city or something like that. That's very similar to this movie, what this train is. Okay. You know, the corporate greed almost just—they're literally saying it's a nuke. Honestly, it's literally like a missile about to hit a city. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Honestly, that's crazy.
And it's grown. It's like a monster about to hit a city. It's like if you could see it that way.
Yeah. Oh damn! Actually, that's a really good point.
But at the same time, it feels like you could see the exact opposite. It's like, oh, it's very realistic. It's just like a train. Yeah. The way it's cut and stuff, it does feel like.
Is that like kind of what Tony Scott does a lot in his movies, like other movies, or?
To me, he's very good at because he has a lot of genres. He does a lot of different genres.
Okay.
So
well, yeah, I'm interested in watching some of his movies after this because.
What connects it though is his use of montage though. And what I was going to mention that I got away from it is Blake mentioned his review the news network he keeps cutting to.
Yeah,
that's also showing us like movie like shots and stuff.
Honestly, yeah.
But that's kind of like his whole thing of the power of montage is he cuts so fast. And he has so many different cameras rolling like a real thing.
Yeah.
He's actually showing you how powerful film can be if you just cut across so many shots. It's basically making a new movie. Basically making a movie with all these different images. Because he's using really long lenses. He's using news channel footage. You know, he's using close-ups of the characters.
Yeah, it gives new life. It gives life to the movie in a way.
But
yes.
he's using it in such a way you always feel that tension of the train.
Yeah,
you know, it's going to hit something. Or
he doesn't really give you much room to breathe at all.
No,
like,
but at the same time, you get comedy. Like there's
you do get those.
There's so many great cuts of like. Right when something goes wrong, he'll cut to that corporate guy.
Yeah,
where he just like has his dumbass look on his face or something.
Yeah.
You know, and like, and I remember listening to an interview with him a while ago about like, I actually was about this movie, how he went and like watched rail people work on trains and stuff to see how they communicate and stuff.
Yeah,
and I've said this by Michael Mann, but you can see this by Tony Scott too. Like. He like all these characters in the movie he based on like real people he saw while like going.
You definitely feel that because like it's like what's like
all of them feel like experts.
Yes,
you know?
yes,
and that's
like,
part of the great acting of.
And,
we haven't even mentioned the actors.
Yeah,
yet,
yeah,
but.
and like you it's like a whole new world. Honestly, like that's like a thing I loved about it. But like also by the end of the movie, you kind of understand their lingo now. Like
at least some of it.
Yeah, yeah. Like what's the thing they call like I forgot it now, of course, but like. The thing they call it the side tracks that they were gonna pull, it's like starts with an R or something. I forgot what they called it, but like
but while you're watching, like, oh, now I know what that is. It's honestly just like part of it. Honestly, a lot of it just Denzel, dude. He's just such a great actor. Like, oh yeah, he is an expert.
It's something. We talked about that kind of like expert thing in Michael Mann too. Like that's kind of something they have in common.
But part of like Denzel's just so good in this in terms of like making you feel like the old vet who's like so sarcastic towards Chris Pine, like because they don't like each other from the beginning.
Yeah, I guess There's I wouldn't say not like it, maybe just indifference or just they're still warming up to each other maybe like because they did just meet. I don't know.
It's kind of introduced where like they say something about like even before they see Chris Pine. Denzel's friend tells him, "Oh, that guy got hired because his brother or cousin works in like a nearby."
Or his dad, I think is.
He has family connections, and that's why he got the job. And also, this is the thing. This still happens, and this is true with a lot of corporations in general. That guy got hired not only because of family connections, but because he can get a rookie pay grade, and they can hire someone that they have to pay more because they've been there longer. Yeah. And get someone to do the same job, they can pay them less.
Which this movie definitely tackles capitalism.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I love the beauty of this movie, where it's like it has all these issues in it if you want, or a lot of these little character moments. But it's like you said, at the end of the day, it's always in the focus of it's always going. Yes, you have to feel that train, no matter what. Where it's like where certain westerns or certain genre, just certain movies in general, like the one we just talked about, Rio Bravo. Yeah. It feels like it's going back and forth a little bit too much to me.
Okay.
My taste is more like when a movie is something that's like something the whole way through.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I say a lot of times I prefer shorter movies. You know, but at the same time, like that doesn't mean I'm right about it, and I do like movies the other way. Like because at the same time, I also do. I'm like talking out of both sides of my mouth. I do love episodic movies. Yeah. Like Boonwell is a very episodic director. Fellini as well, but. I don't know. Their movies, I say, they flow like one movie. Like they still feel. Once you get into their movies, they still feel like the same almost. You know, like they still feel very flowy. Like they still feel.
Feel what?
I don't know. Very flowy, like one movie. Still.
Oh, is it like
not very jagged or something? Are you saying
good thing? Okay.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Yes. Okay. Like I don't know if I'm describing it well, but you see what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. Basically.
It's because this movie still feels like there's always this pulse of like the train could explode at any moment or could hit something. Yeah. Even though we're saying there are little moments of Denzel and Chris Pine talking, character development, or we see Rosario Dawson being good at her job.
But, I think we said this, but it doesn't take itself too seriously at the same time. Like no, like I love the goofy guy that's like an expert on like a lot of stuff. He has like this like weird like gel wig or whatever. Like that one guy with the suit and he's with the Rosario Dawson character.
Okay. He's like the expert on...
I don't know. He's like so goofy to me.
The safety inspector or something?
Yeah, safety inspector. That's his name. Yeah.
Okay, her first scene, because when he kicks her out, he's like, oh, because he's there to talk to the kids or something.
Yeah.
The way she kicks her out, I was like... I forgot what she says, but it's so funny. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they'll go talk over there, and she just closes the door on his face.
Oh my gosh. Which, I love her, because, this is another thing about, everyone's, this is, competence. People so confident.
Because remember, there's like a little moment where the boss when she tells the boss for the first time and he's like, all right, we're having a corporate meeting to discuss this, and she's like, okay, I'll be on the call, and he's like, you won't be on the call. But you can tell it's like even in these little moments you can tell there's these hierarchies,
Yeah.
But then of course their plan fails, so then they have to use her later on in the movie and stuff. Because if you think about it, it's like the person that makes the decision at the beginning of the movie are the people not involved in the trains.
Yeah.
And literally every decision they make is wrong, and the people closest to the action
the
are the
experts
ones. But literally, the people closest to the action are the ones that actually save the day. You know.
Yeah.
In a very literal sense.
Yeah. The blue collar.
Like Denzel is the one who has to be like, actually, I can do this, or you know, like, or because his big moment or his best moment is when he's like, no, that portable derailer is not going to work.
Honestly, I mean, just like, okay, there's like multiple, like.
But I just love his like the confidence of it, like, yeah, it's not gonna work.
Or just the amount of trains aren't gonna fit in the.
Yeah, okay, all those little moments, yeah. Because he notices that Chris Pine like cheats, he like forgets something.
Well, no, he accidentally attaches too many of the cars,
and the way he checks it is like the way he counts them from behind.
He just knows. He knows like the length and how many cars fit in the length,
based on
like,
where they
off
are,
the top of his head, basically. Like, it's insane. And then he's also the one who comes with the idea of going at it backwards, and like doing the whole thing where they're attaching it and then like breaking and
like think about how much stuff you'd have to know about trains because just to know about all that stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's why I'm like the heroes have to be very specific. It's not like a superhero has to have superpowers to save the day, you know.
Okay.
It's more like the hero has to have like very intricate knowledge of train details to like save the day almost, but it still feels like an action movie. You know?
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense.
But part of the reason why I love it, why it feels like an action movie, is the use of montage.
Yes,
which I can't underemphasize because it's like you'll get a close up, and then a wide shot, and then a news channel shot, and then all this back to back to back, and it'll feel like it's all part of the same movie.
Yes,
you know? And it'll still feel realistic to some degree, even though it's really not because it's so fast at some
and like the communication between like the control room and between everyone is
it's very intricate. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Tony Scott gets. Like, it's not easy to use montage like this and make it feel coherent.
And I think I read
to shoot with 9 cameras.
Yeah, let's say because I read somewhere where he does shoot with like a lot of cameras.
He does. So that's what Michael Bay does too. But it's not easy to shoot with that many cameras and still make it feel coherent and still make it feel like the characters are talking and like involved in the action while you're still cutting through all these different angles.
Which to me it's like it's easy to mess that up for sure. Like, you know, Transformers.
But that's the thing. His whole movies are shot like that. That's the thing. Even his conversations are shot like that.
Yeah.
Even like that's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's like
constant.
That's like the duality of Michael Bay for me. Like Transformers doesn't work for me, but like Ambulance is like.
But he does that in Transformers too. You just have to see the light. You just have to see
Ambulance
the light.
is like it's so much more better to me. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
It's shorter for sure.
I guess.
If Transformers is maybe an hour and 45.
Also, his characters aren't good in Transformers. I don't like his characters in Transformers, and that's like
agree to disagree now.
Okay, like the Ambulance.
Review.
I thought, we don't.
No, Ambulance, I can agree. Like it is more focused on that, you know, just characters in the action.
Which I'm not. I don't want to be like the guy who's like, oh, the characters are bad, so the movie sucks. Like, it's just like a combination in Transformers.
Yes,
of everything. That's just like one aspect, but anyway. We're talking Michael Bay.
And both, well, they are connected in some way. In a lot of ways.
There's definitely influence there.
But I don't know. I've talked about a lot of like
we probably
very specific moments that comes to your mind.
I mean, we talk. It's a very as we said, like cuts. It's a very straight to the point movie. Like,
there's a few like big action set pieces, like
the whole thing, the end, the kind of full action sequence. I feel like we kind of have to talk about, like,
with the helicopter.
Okay, actually,
we need to talk about that one.
I forgot about that. That's crazy. Like,
okay, we'll talk about that because the two are this helicopter one is the reason the way they get here is the boss is like, no, we're not derailing the train.
Yeah,
we're gonna try. I think the goal is to get that guy who's in the helicopter dangling from it, which they all shot. You know, which is real.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and he said this was like the most dangerous stunt he'd ever shot. Because this is his last movie, which is I shouldn't mention at the beginning, but it is kind of sad because he did commit suicide. Like I think a year or two later after this.
Damn.
So yeah, it's like it's just a special movie in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But the fact that like this is one of his biggest set pieces he ever did is this guy like hanging over a train while they're
so crazy.
Like on a helicopter as a train's going by. Oh, it's just so perfect, dude.
I mean, in a way though, their plan is like when you first see it, you're like, okay, this is actually
because they're having another train from the other side trying to slow it down, right?
Well, yeah, I think right before that moment it is. But then like basically, you, in the moment like when they initially like starts to happen, you're like, okay, this could work. And then
it starts to work for a little bit too, like in that movie where like the movie where it's kind of working, maybe. You know? And the fact that it's like it feels so real that's happening.
Yeah,
you want it to work.
Yeah.
But normally in a movie where it's like, oh, actually actually it's the bad guys that are starting this plan. So
yeah, you're like, actually,
I don't want
it's
like
gonna go wrong.
yeah, you don't want them. You don't want it to work because it's the bad guys that said
that
it.
too, yeah.
But in this one, it's like I actually want this to work because it's like damn, like this is kind of cool. This is like amazing.
Damn.
But like when he does hit the glass and like it fails, it's also really dramatic. It's like holy shit.
Yeah, his body just goes
like,
limp.
Yeah, his body goes limp, and it goes to the news channel footage, which makes it
yeah.
equally dramatic. You know, like it just adds that little element of like that. Like imagine someone watching on the news when it happens. You know,
honestly, that's crazy.
But that's not even the best moment because the best moment is like right after. This is the true like monster moment for me. You see, you hear almost like that groan, but this is where it knocks over the train as it's going.
Okay,
when they're like trying to side it or something.
Oh, and then the
it almost feels like for no reason, like a monster would do, where it just like as it's going with no movement, it just knocks over this other.
Because when it initially falls, you're like, okay, it's just gonna fall over, and then just like boom, you're like, wait, what? Like,
where'd
that come from?
Yeah, it explodes right after. Yeah,
oh,
no, that is. It's so
great.
good. And that's what I'm saying. It feels like a monster too, because it's like for no reason almost. You know, it just keeps going. And the way he cuts to it too, right after like low angle almost, and it's like just
you could say it's on.
It's 777. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that 7?
That's the number I think.
Oh,
the
really?
train
Okay.
777.
Damn, that's crazy. But I mean, we should also mention the guy that's driving the pickup. Well, the failed attempt at the beginning too.
Oh, John, I think is his name or something.
Yeah, when he's like about to jump out, and then the door gets like cut off basically by.
Because I think the way it's explained how the train is like why it's going so fast.
Yeah.
Is the guy thought he turned on like the emergency brake or something. I forget what the actual
air
name
brake.
is.
I think it's called
air brake, but I think it has some other name. Like that, it starts with an I or something. Because there's a funny moment where Rosario Dawson's like, I need you to rally every brain in your cell and remember if you turn on the brake or something. It's like, yeah, that's a great line.
It's so because they think it's a coaster initially, but then
that's what I'm saying, because they think that brake is on, so it can't go past.
And then they go to the location that should have been. It's like already past them. It's hilarious, but
and because T.J. Miller, he's also like a young T.J. Miller.
Yeah, okay.
I
didn't realize it was him.
Yeah,
when I watched it too. Like,
yeah, it's like of course these two clowns. Like it's
yeah, at least he didn't give him too much dialogue. You know,
no, he did.
That would have been annoying. Because didn't Michael Bay and him hate each other? Like,
damn, I forgot he's in Michael Bay movie too. Fuck.
Oh yeah, he's in the. I haven't seen it. I just know,
yeah, I think he's in the fourth one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's
the dinosaur one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was gonna also talk about the pickup truck guy, which he's the one driving the pickup truck in that scene. But like you kind of like then like throughout a lot of the movie that follows. He sometimes cuts to the pickup truck just like still driving like alongside the cops and everything, so you don't really know what he's doing until the end when you see him drive that, and then you realize like that's what he was like.
That's why he's there basically. Yeah.
What's that scene? I mean,
I do love his like comeback moment though. It's
yeah.
like, oh, Judd's here. You know, it's
like yeah, that's exactly.
It's a very action movie moment. Too. Yeah, it's almost like what I was saying about Walter Brennan. Like, of course, the sidekick character comes and saves the day. Yeah. But we should talk about Chris Pine too. Because honestly, he's like really good in the movie as well. Like he holds his own with the Desnell scenes. Because if you really think about it, most of the movie is just them in a train car talking,
basically.
You know, and a lot of great cuts to them and stuff. But like, it's just them and a lot of talking a lot of times. So they kind of just have to be good actors. Like,
yeah. And do you like the whole thing with his wife? What do you think about that?
I like it. It just makes it feel like a little more like they're not heroes. They're heroes by what they're doing in the situation, not by just. They're who they are. Like
that makes sense.
It's more realistic, you could say.
Yeah, and it is very brief, honestly.
Because Denzel too, you know, like
the Hooters.
Yeah, his daughter's
so
working
funny,
at Hooters,
honestly.
and then it was just like, yeah, I know.
Like
they're just like there's these little like great little they're like great little moments.
Yeah,
you know?
it's very 2010s. Like
okay, the Hooters thing.
Yeah. I don't know. It just feels 2010.
It is
like,
okay,
or like or just like 2000s. I guess.
Yeah,
like,
definitely is.
No,
because the reason I bring it up is because just going through my notes, like the movie is just you said clean earlier, and it's so true because just looking through it, it's like the corporate they have two plans. They both fail because we mentioned one of them with the big helicopter, but they also do the derailer one, where like the monster also just easily just breaks it right through and keeps going. And but then after that is our two heroes they each have their moment.
Yeah.
With first Chris Pine as he's going to I think he's like turning on the brakes on all the sidecars or something.
No, that was Morgan.
No, that's Denzel.
Denzel Washington. I almost said Morgan Freeman.
Oh my god! I'm not cutting that.
I deserve it.
Okay.
That was a mistake.
No. What? No, he's helping Denzel like signal and stuff.
Yeah,
but I forget what he's doing.
He has to. I think it got disconnected or whatever, and he's having to like manually. He's trying to connect their car to the. He's trying to connect the two basically.
Yes.
But then there's troubles with connecting them. Yeah. And they basically
his foot like gets falls, in the way or something.
Yeah, he injures his foot.
It's like it goes through it or something. I think it goes through the foot.
I'm not really sure, but he hurt his foot really bad, basically. And basically then more...
but dude, the way this scene is cut is so dramatic, too. Once again, with the news footage as, like, part of the drama. Because, like, he gets, like, it's like a grain car, too. Like that blows open or something. So there's, like, grain, like, hiding everything. To just make it a little more dramatic. And then, because Chris Pine, like, gets hurt, and he, like, falls under.
Yeah, he's, like, about to fall off the train.
And we don't see him for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's
because it's, like, going fast, and we just see grain.
Denzel has
and it cuts to his wife, like, watching, like, oh, shit, like, is he dead or whatever? And then, then he, like, emerges from the grain, and the newscaster's like, oh, and there he is! And it's like, oh, let's go! Like,
and then, basically, then that's when they swap places. Like, then he realized he has to go...
it has to be
train
Denzel.
by train, which is crazy.
Which is like, because it's like their first time together. Of course, the situation is like they already have to do that.
It's like everything's going wrong until they like actually have to take like the most practical approach to it. Like,
but dude, this is what I love though, and this is honestly like we could talk about this with a lot of movies, but it's kind of movies I prefer is like where the heroes are almost like determined by their situations, where they have to like almost rise to the occasion because like basically they have to do that. Denzel would never want to give up his train in any normal circumstance.
I guess the conflict in there is Chris Pine doesn't feel like they have to do it because remember Chris Pine initially doesn't want to go after the train when Denzel suggests it.
No, I'm saying at this point though, where like they realize they're gonna go turn on break off. And like this whole movie's been like this is like Denzel's engine, like he's like the hero. Like this situation, like they have to do it, so that's what makes them heroes. The situation calls for it, and more than just being like a hero has to be like I'm a hero because I'm a hero. Yeah,
and we need to mention maybe my favorite moment in the movie we skipped over when Denzel Washington's on the call with the executives when they're chasing out the train and they're threatening to fire him if he goes on more forward. But then you realize, oh yeah, you guys already fired me, like.
And that's a theme in Tony Scott's movies too.
Okay, like
where like the employee's already been treated like shit, and they're still being a hero because, like I'm saying, the situation's calling. Like they basically have to. That's how Denzel sees it.
Yes.
He even has a line something like that. It's like I have to. He says something like that. I have to.
Chris Pine, he gets Chris Pine to do it by saying like, because his wife lives in the city that is gonna blow up basically if they don't chase after it. Like, oh, it's great. But like I also one of my favorite moments in the movie, which I feel like it's kind of like a moment everyone talks about in this movie when Denzel is like putting his hands up on the train, it's just like such a good just like enough,
just a great heroic moment at the end.
Like it's so simple but so effective, like just like the way he's like standing on the train and everything. But him running across it's insane too.
And I love also like the dramatic conclusion of the movie being like a train slowing down. Like a explosion not happening.
Yeah, honestly,
that just tops it off for me as like a
just pulling the brake. Like that's that's great.
Damn, dude.
Oh, man.
That crisis averted.
Then of course Chris Pine also gets basically him and the guy the guy in the pickup truck.
Judd, I think.
Yeah, he basically takes him to the front.
Yeah, he takes Chris Pine to the front
and
makes him jump back on the train
with the injured foot, and then he gets to pull the brake, it's great. I mean,
it to me watching this time, like it really does become a monster movie at parts. Like with this train, at least the way this train is destroying the city.
Yes,
like,
and just the incompetence of humans. I feel like is a big kind of thing in monster movies.
Like, have you seen Shin Godzilla?
No, I haven't.
I think it was 2014.
I need to watch more monster movies. That's something I need to.
But that's like one of the newer Godzilla movies.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen the header on.
But that movie's very much about that, like combining monster movie and government incompetence.
The Godzilla movie, the old Godzilla, the movie I've seen, the All Monsters Attack, I think it's called. That's a big part of it. I think that's just a huge. Thing
that's what I'm saying. This movie is like it's kind of both. Like it's playing on both of those very very knowledgeably too.
Yeah.
No, is there anything else? Man. I'm surprised 5 stars for you though.
I did love this movie. Like it's as I said, like it's just
I honestly do think
it's so simple and effective. Like it's hard not to love this. I guess. I mean, maybe the average rating on Letterboxd kind of disproves that, but to me,
I think people could just get annoyed with the pacing, or like just the kind of the style, maybe,
or just maybe dismiss it like before they even watch it, because I could see that happening.
Because I do people call this like commercial style in some ways, like commercial editing. This quick pacing, especially if they don't understand like how intricate it is.
Yeah.
They might just see it as a commercial editing.
Well, yeah,
because they both, Tony Scott and Michael Bay, they both came from commercials too.
Okay.
Which is, it does kind of support that kind of fast editing and stuff. Yeah. But like we mentioned earlier, montage from the beginning was like that in a lot of ways. So
yeah, damn, it's crazy.
Yeah, and maybe just to conclude, this movie is like proof like Tony Scott is way more than just a commercial action director.
This movie is definitely
read
it makes me want to watch some more of his movies, especially the one that you've recommended to me.
Oh yeah, dude. Like Taking a Pelham is also amazing.
I'll probably watch Deja Vu next.
Deja Vu is great too.
Yeah. Which I mean, maybe I shouldn't have watched this first because maybe it's hard to top, but we'll see.
Because you've seen Vertigo, right?
Oh yeah,
multiple times.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, love Vertigo.
Yeah, because Deja Vu is known as kind of another one of a spin-off.
You recommend me after I watch Tenet.
Also Tenet, yes.
Yeah, yes. So I'm a big Tenet believer.
No, Tenet's great movie. That's great. No, but maybe
that's an action movie.
Nolan is also a huge Tony Scott head.
That makes complete sense. Yeah.
You can tell from his songs.
Which Tenet's also an action movie. Like a modern action movie. I love, but that's because it's
honestly Nolan is. Like Tony Scott is a Nolan kind of director, like using genre to kind of like do your own thing, but at the same time maybe you could say stay with the genre, like just making interesting concept movies while still trying to make it action, exciting. Trying to play both lines, and I think doing it well. But still,
that's a good comparison from what I've seen. But yeah,
they do it in their own ways. But
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's Unstoppable and Rio Bravo.
Ooh.
So, what are we doing next week?
Blake's gonna be back, and we're gonna be doing the '60s draft, which is like because we did the '50s draft last break, and so we're continuing that. And I think this is the last episode before we get to the next series. I know it's been kind of a large gap between the two. Which it will be Blake.
There was a short run of movies we actually wanted to see in theaters coming out.
Yeah, which is
which is probably over now for like next 2 years.
Yeah.
It was a good. It was a good
Flat Moon is that, but that's one. That's a one.
And then told they're like, oh, it's actually not coming to theaters in your area.
Oh my god! Please no. Don't even put that.
That's one we might actually have to travel for if that happens.
Honestly, like. I mean, if I can, if I'm available, because I'm gonna be in school and stuff.
No, you'll be there. Okay. It'll be a weekend.
Okay.
The Way of the Wind. Whenever that comes, I'm already thinking about that too. It's just I'm desperate at this point.
Yeah, you're desperate. But
like, why couldn't Malick just be like a year where Scorsese and Malick had a same year where they released their masterpieces or something?
I guess I was gonna say Silence came out in 2016, I think, and then Song to Song came out in 2017. Narcos came out in 2015.
Damn.
Wait, there's got to be some year that's similar though. Come on. Wait, what year? 1999. When was Thin Red Line come out? That's a year after. Thin Red Line came out a year after Casino. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not dumb, or maybe a few years after.
What's the Ben Affleck one?
To the Wonder.
What year? 2006.
2012.
Oh, 2012. Damn,
it's after Tree of Life.
You can tell I haven't seen that one. Well, no, I've seen it, but
okay, you don't remember. I don't remember much of it either. I need to watch it.
But either way, I'm desperate for Malick. I'm desperate.
I feel that. Even though Danny here hasn't seen The Hidden Life,
Oh, wow, that's fine.
So
I'll watch it. I'm waiting for The Way of the Wind, and then I'll watch it.
You shouldn't. It's going to be 3 years, bro. Like, you just need to watch it.
He said it's close to done, basically. He's happy with it, according to that article.
Okay. Anyway.
But either way, we're doing the 60s draft next week.
Yeah, 60s draft. Very excited, because 60s is one of my favorite decades. Houses a lot of my all-time favorite movies. So, yeah. Hope to see you guys next time. Hope to see you float through the clouds.
The sun is sinking in the west. The cattle go down to the stream. The redwing settles in her nest. It's time for a cowboy to dream. Purple light in the canyon. That's where I long to be, with my three good companions. Just my rifle, pony, and me. Gonna hang my sombrero on the limb of a tree. Coming home, sweetheart darling, just my rifle, pony, and me.
Whippoorwill in the willow sings a sweet melody,
riding to Amarillo,
Amarillo.
just my rifle, pony, and me.
No more cow,
No more cow
to be roping,
to be roping,
no more stray,
no more stray.
will I see
Round the bend,
round the bend.
she'll be waiting
She'll be waiting
for my rifle, pony, and me. For my rifle, my pony,